All right, let's jump right in. I want you to picture this. It's a spring afternoon, way back in 1844. A religious leader, Joseph Smith, gets up in front of a crowd and delivers a sermon that doesn't just question, but completely challenges a core belief that Western thought had held onto for thousands of years. He suggested something, well, something radical, a universe that had no beginning.
And, this wasn't some minor adjustment or a small theological debate. As our source material so perfectly puts it, this sermon didn't just nudge the boundaries of traditional theology, it absolutely shattered them. We're talking about a total philosophical reset.
And at the very heart of this massive idea is one simple but completely universe-altering question. What if nothing was ever actually created?
To even begin to answer that, Smith had to take on one of the theology's oldest pillars, this idea of creatio ex nihilo, which is just a fancy way of saying creation out of nothing. The belief that God created everything from a total void. Smith's idea? He threw that out. Instead, he proposed that creation wasn't about making something from nothing, but about organizing materials that have always been here.
So if the universe wasn't just zapped into existence from nothing, then what is it made of? What are these eternal materials? The answer, in this cosmology, lies in two primal elements. Think of them as the spark and the fuel. So first, you've got the spark. Smith called this intelligence. This is the individual, uncreated core of your being. It's the essential you. It's described as a light of truth that was never made and, get this, can never be destroyed. It has just always existed. Okay, so you have the spark. Next, you need the fuel for that spark. That's what's called spirit matter. This is this refined, eternal substance that's used to clothe that intelligence. It basically gives your uncreated core a form, a spirit body, so you can actually interact with reality and have agency.
And this is where it all clicks into place. It's a cosmic partnership. Just look at this breakdown. The intelligence is the spark. Spirit matter is the fuel. The intelligence is the dancer. The spirit matter is the veil that lets you see the dance. One is the who you are at your core, the other is the what you're made of. They're co-eternal, working together.
But wait a minute, if these core components, us, our intelligences, are just as eternal as God is, it brings up a huge question, right? What is God's role in all of this? And this leads us to a totally new way of seeing God, not as a creator, but as a cosmic architect. And wow, this slide just lays out the paradigm shift perfectly. On one side, you have the traditional creator God, who's kind of like a magician, making things out of thin air. But that gets replaced. In this model, God is a master architect, an organizer. The whole relationship changes from a master shaping passive clay to a mentor guiding a protege. So the big takeaway here is that God's work isn't about fabricating things from a void. It's about parenting and education. His whole purpose is to organize these pre-existing eternal intelligences to provide a structure, laws, spirit bodies, worlds, all so they can progress and grow into something more. Now, this isn't just some abstract theology that stays in your head. Oh, no. Early thinkers in this movement started exploring its physical implications, which led to this incredible idea, a kind of physics of eternalism, the concept of a conscious cosmos. There was this one early apostle, Orson Pratt, who took this idea and just ran with it. He argued that all matter, down to the smallest particle, has some degree of intelligence. As he put it, all these substances are self-moving because they are intelligent. So in his view, the laws of physics aren't just these blind mechanical forces. They're more like a form of conscious obedience on a massive cosmic scale.
Just pause on that for a second. A universe that thinks? It is a staggering idea for sure, but it's an idea that has some pretty surprising echoes in our modern world.
And check this out. These 19th century theological concepts have these incredible resonances with some very 21st century theories. You've got panpsychism, which is the view that consciousness is a fundamental feature of the universe. There's David Bohm's whole movement theory, which sees the universe as this undivided flowing whole. And of course, quantum entanglement, the idea that all particles are deeply connected, which makes total sense if everything was organized from one single, eternal source, right?
Okay, so this is all fascinating on a cosmic scale, but let's bring it all the way down to a personal level. What does being uncreated actually mean for you? What's the real weight of this idea?
Well, if you were not created, then the entire burden of existence completely shifts. Think about it. You're not an artifact that was designed by a creator. You are an eternal being. And the responsibility for who you are and more importantly, who you become is fundamentally your own.
This whole concept of self really rests on these three huge pillars. First, there's radical autonomy. You're not a product, you are an active participant in reality. Second, you are co-eternal with God. Your core self, your mind or spirit, is just as ancient as the divine. And all of that leads to the third pillar, inherent freedom. Your sovereign intelligence was inherited by God, not designed by Him. He has to work with what you already are.
So when you put it all together, what does it really mean? It means that we are the primal element waking up to itself. We are eternal beings learning through trial and error, through experience, how to understand and organize the very substance of the universe that we are made from.
And that brings us to this final, really powerful idea to leave you with. You were not made, you have always been. And because you have always been, there is nothing you cannot eventually become. It's a pretty profound thought to end on. Not a universe of creation, but a universe of eternal unfolding potential.